To do an alginate impression, the materials that we need to gather are the alginate, of course, the alginate powder, with the scoop for that alginate and the measuring cup for that alginate. You have to make sure it's for that alginate, otherwise the measurement, the ratio of powder to water is going to differ. There are different measuring cups for different alginate and different spoons for different alginate. So you can see this one, it's a lot different. This one is a lot larger than this one. So you have to know the material that it comes with its own scoop and its own measuring cup. Otherwise, it's going to be off. Then we're going to have a mixing bowl with the spatula. We're going to have the trays. You would need to identify the maxillary tray from the mandibular. The maxillary is going to have the palate area, so this area is going to be filled. And the mandibular tray is going to have an opening in the middle for the tongue to lay. Then we're going to have a disinfectant spray, because after we take the impression, that has been in the mouth and we have to manipulate this in the lab. So we want to disinfect it a little bit to disinfect the bioburden out of the impression. Then we want to cover it with paper towels. We're going to wet these paper towels and create like a little wipe. And then once we take the impression, we're going to cover it just in case we don't have time to pour these impressions right away. So now, what are we going to do first? We can prepare before the patient gets to the room. So how do we do that? Every time that we use powder, we need to fluff it. So the way we fluff it, you see that it stays like that. We want to make sure that all of that gets moved. So we just move it here. Here, we don't shake it aggressively. We're just fluffing it. That way, we're going to get more accurate measurement, and also all the components, all the chemicals are mixed together. Now we're going to open it. Make sure you have all your PPE. So we're going to grab the powder and we're going to slice it with the edge, not the flat part, with the edge, and then we're going to remove the excess, and we're going to drop one, and then we're going to get another one, slice it so we can move that thing down, but we don't pack it down. And we do this. Usually for the maxillary impressions, we do 3 scoops for the maxillary impression, because the tray needs more material than the mandibular. However, with this specific brand, the scoop, as you saw, is big. So with 2, I can do a maxillary impression. I don't need 3, and that way we don't waste material. So then we do this, and we take the other scoop. So now we have the scoops ready. Then we have to know how we use the measuring cup. So as you can see here, it says 2 scoops. So we use 2 scoops for both. So this side of the cup, we're going to fill it with water. If we would have used 1 scoop, if you can see it there, then we would have used this side of the cup, and we would fill this side with water. But because we used 2, we're just going to fill this one with water. We have this ready with water. Now we're going to try the tray to see if it fits in the patient's mouth. So how do we try the tray? Retract here. Just the tip we're going to do to retract the other cheek. Don't go all the way in like that, because you might choke the patient and it's uncomfortable, and once you turn on the gag reflex, there is no way to turn it off. And for this procedure, you want to avoid that. So retract the cheeks. You can retract it with the finger, or you can use a mouth mirror. So I use my index finger, retract here. With the other side, I'm going to use just this tip of this side to retract and put it in, because like this is not going to go in. So I'm going to do this, retract, then go in, and then I'm going to make sure that this covers the whole arch. So I see it's covering all of the teeth, so that's good. And then I want to see that all the height is covered of the teeth. So I see that it's covering all of the height of the teeth, the whole length. And then another thing that I want to see is that if there is space in between the teeth and the tray. If there is space in between the teeth and the tray, it is a good fit. For the top, we want to see that it's covering all of the teeth. I want to make sure that the height is covered. Another thing is that there is space in between the teeth and the tray to allow the material to be in there and this to sink in to create that mold. If it's too tight to the tray, then it's going to not be in that material, is going to get stuck into the tray. So we want that space. Okay? For the mandibular. So again, the mandibular has that space for the tongue. So I'm gonna go down. How do we do it? Move this out of the way, making space. And I'm just gonna put the edge so I can retract with it. And I have it in there. Now it's gonna be easier for me to move it in. So now I'm checking. I'm gonna check to see if there is space. There is plenty of space for that material. There is space between the tray and the teeth. It's covering all of the arch. This is a good fit. I'm gonna use this one. So that is the first step that we have to do before we start mixing, because if we start mixing and we have not tried the tray, then the thing is gonna get hard and then it's for nothing, because it's not gonna fit appropriately. So we measure the trays. The first impression that I'm going to do is going to be the maxillary impression. So I have my powder measured already, and I have my water here. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to get my powder and I am going to put the water, and I'm going to start mixing. The first thing that I want to do is incorporate the water into the alginate powder. Once I have it incorporated, then I'm going to put my bowl on the side, and I am going to do this movement, going back and forth like in an 8 motion or a infinity motion. And I'm going to be doing the 8 or infinity here, there, here, there, here, there, but I want to be doing it faster, okay? Once I see that my mixture is smooth, then for the maxillary, what I want to do is I want to scoop the whole thing out. I'm going to scoop the whole thing out. I'm going to grab my tray from the back. I am going to put it, and I am just gonna let it drop, so you can see that, to the top. Don't push it in, because then you're gonna see all the green. So, and as you can see, I am just wiping the spatula. While I'm wiping, whatever was stuck on my spatula, I am putting it inside the tray. And this is what I wanna do. It's like wiping it and making sure that all of these greens are covered. So now you see that it's a little kind of maybe not smooth, so I can smooth that out. I can wet my finger and I can smooth it out before I put it in the patient's mouth. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to my patient. Same as we tried in the tray, retract with one finger, the other side with the tray, put it straight and put it back, make a seal in the back. Then you want to go to the side of the patient, move the patient's head forward and take the lips out of the way so you can move that tray in the front up, but don't push it way too up because you want those teeth to stay in that material. At this moment, you want to coach the patient to breathe through their nose and assure the patient. Once this sets, then it's time to take it out. So you can go with your fingers above the tray to take it out to release the suction, or just move it side by side slowly and take it out. And that's how you do the maxillary impression. We're going to bring these impressions to the lab, so they have to be disinfected. They were in the patient's mouth, so we're going to use a disinfectant spray like the Cavicide spray, and we're going to spray it. We can go to the sink or to the trash to do that. Then we're going to get a wet paper towel and we're going to cover these until they are ready to get poured in the lab to prevent shrinkage of the material. Okay, so now we're going to do the mandibular. So we got the powder, we got the water. With the mixing bowl straight and the spatula straight, we're going to incorporate the water into that powder. Then we're going to put the mixing bowl on the side, on the palm, and we're going to start doing the number 8 or the infinity sign with our spatula, back and forth, very rapidly. Now for the mandibular, we're only going to take half of that material. We're going to go on the side of the tray and we're going to make that spatula slide to fill the whole quadrant. We're going to put the tray down and then we're going to get the rest of the material to do the same thing on the other quadrant. We're going to grab it, we're going to put it on the side and then just drop the material to fill the whole quadrant at once. Then again, we're just going to be cleaning our spatula with the sides of the tray and making sure that we're filling in all those greens that are exposed. Once we have that ready, then we're going to go to the patient. We're going to turn the tray down. With our index finger, retract one cheek. With the tray, retract the other cheek. Put it straight, put it to the back, and make a seal first in the back. Simultaneously, we're going to tell the patient to lift their tongue up and side to side, and we are retracting their lips so we can move that tray down in the front. And then we're just going to position our fingers on top of that tray. We're not putting any pressure. We're just doing that so the muscles of the patient doesn't move your tray up. So we're just holding it down. And then we just wait for this material to set. Once it sets, little by little, we're just going to move it on the side. And that's how you do the mandibular impression. Same as you did with the maxillary, you need to disinfect this impression. You're going to use the Cavicide spray. You can use the sink or the trash can to do this. Then you're going to get the wet paper towel to maintain the moisture in these impressions to prevent shrinkage until they get poured in the lab.